Hey guys, welcome back to Infidelity Stories. Make sure like and subscribe to the channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into story video.
Advice: my 27 male wife, 26 female, had a year-long affair that I discovered. Trying to reconcile with me, I'm still undecided. Hello and good day to everyone. This might take a very long time. I'm writing this from a friend's home, where I'll stay for at least a couple of days before moving into a hotel for the night. Unfortunately, I discovered the existence of this sub after experiencing something that I would have never imagined happening in a million years. For the last year, my 3-year-old wife has been having an affair with a colleague who is also her boss. I know him personally. This was found via her Gmail account on her laptop, which had been left open and logged in by accident. I had no intention of reading her email, I just happened to see it in my inbox and was intrigued by the content. Afterwards, I went through her phone with her and double-checked the information. I'm not going to lie, I was completely taken by surprise by this. We had, or at least had the appearance of having, a pleasant relationship. We were often intimate with one another and never really got irritated with one another. When we first met in college, we dated for almost 2 years before getting married. We had discussed the possibility of starting a family in the next year or two now that I have a well-paying job and had grown in my field. I didn't have a shred of suspicion at all. She's brilliant, and she's done an excellent job of concealing her tracks and leaving no trace. She never came home late at night, was aloof or chilly toward me, and did not express love for me in any way. She never once voiced displeasure or unhappiness with our relationship or our relationship with her. It would have been impossible for me to try to remedy anything since I was completely unaware of what was wrong. I discovered from her texts and emails that they usually got together during their lunch breaks or left work early in order to travel to a hotel or motel together. The other guy is not married, but he has been with the same woman for a long time. I haven't told her about it yet, and I haven't even spoken to the other person about it. In lieu of working yesterday, I visited a friend's home and left a letter for my wife on the table. I told him everything. When she returned home, she did, in fact, make a number of phone calls and send text messages. Initially, I didn't answer at all, but when I did, she fell into tears and begged me for forgiveness, insisting that she had made a dumb mistake and would do anything she could to make up for it. We spoke for a long time, but I didn't say anything really noteworthy, and I'm still undecided about what I'm going to do. I'm not going to lie, I love her, but I'm not capable of dealing with betrayal of any kind, and this is right up there. The problem is that when I was 18 years old, I fell into a terrible depression from which I was unable to recover for many years. Exercise and boxing were the only things that helped me get through it. It took me 3 years. And now I'm slipping further and deeper into that abyss. And, as much as I admire her, I have a strong dislike for her as well as the other guy in the story. It has occurred to me that I should approach the other person and severely injure him, but my friend has warned me not to do so. I'm well aware that my emotions are taking control of my thoughts at the moment, which is why I wanted to be away from my wife and our apartment for a period of time to allow reason to regain its foothold in my mind. Seeing her weeping makes me feel sorrow for her, which is something I don't want to feel at this point in time. My logical side is pushing me to divorce her right now, but I'm not sure I want to do that now. I've pondered whether or not I'll ever be able to put my confidence in her again, and I feel the answer is no. That said, here's the thing, I believe myself to be a fair person, one who makes an attempt to examine both sides of a situation whenever feasible. While browsing infidelity communities, I came upon r/adultery and decided to stick around for a while. Initially, I assumed it would be similar to this sub, but it turned out to be diametrically contrary. My wife's intentions for doing so were unclear to me, but I did go through some of the comments in the hopes of better understanding her reasons. The majority of the postings were about the pleasure of trying something new, fulfillment, attempting to escape suffering in their marriage, and other issues of a similar kind. In short, I don't see how any of those challenges could have occurred in the first place, and I'm not simply stating that for the sake of argument. My wife has always been clever and mature, which is why I have a tough time comprehending her behaviors, no matter how hard I try to grasp what she is thinking or feeling. During our phone conversation, she said that it didn't mean anything and that she hated it more than anything else for having done what she had. But what's the purpose of it, anyway? I inquired as to the cause for this and she just said that she didn't know, that it was an error in judgment, and so on. Was it a slip of judgment that lasted a year? I'm now rethinking everything I've done and wondering whether I've spent years of my life on a squandered opportunity. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to place my trust in another lady in the same way I did before. Honestly, I don't believe I'll ever be in a relationship with another person again. There are flaws in every human person, of course, but what's the purpose of making a commitment to someone if you're just going to walk away and find someone else later on? That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for your time. Even if it was on the internet, each and every one of these disclosures had to be made public someplace. It is clear, though, that the marriage is not going to endure, and I am unsure of what I will do in the meanwhile. Despite the fact that I like my daughter's mother, she has phoned me 3 times and I have not returned any of her phone calls. So far, I haven't informed anybody about it, with the exception of a close buddy who I am now sharing a home with. For the sake of future reference, I've taken screenshots of their emails and texts in case I need to present them as evidence. To summarize, here's everything you need to know. My wife had a year-long affair with another man, which I discovered via emails and text messages that I received and sent to me. I sent her a text message in which I explained everything, and then I went to spend a few days with a friend in another city. Until now, I haven't had the chance to speak with her. It's still too early for me to make an informed decision at this time, despite the fact that she is devastated and begging with me to remain together and work through the problems we're having. I believe all I'm seeking for is input/advice from people who are more senior/experienced than I am at this point. Edit, thank you so much for everyone's comments and attention, I genuinely appreciate it. A few themes have resurfaced again and time again. I made the decision not to fight the other person since my emotions were just getting the best of me at the time. I'm going to get an STD test, and I'm going to convince her that she should do the same, too. I'm leaning toward divorce at the moment since I can't see ever looking at her in the same way after this experience. I'll need some time to think about it, and I'll need to talk to her about it as soon as I'm through. Her mother has since messaged me, demanding that I contact her on her behalf. In addition, she is a beautiful person who has always been motherly to me throughout my time knowing her. As a result, I will be calling her shortly to chat with her about this, before I talk to my wife. Thank you. I despise the fact that there are so many comments because it implies that a large number of you men and women have had a similar experience. Posting this here and talking about my experience is aiding me with releasing everything, and I will offer an update as soon as one is ready, so stay tuned. Quick update, I returned a phone call to my mother-in-law after taking a lengthy stroll yesterday. However, I did mention that her daughter had been seeing someone else behind my back for quite some time, albeit I did not go into details. She was understandably enraged, but she did not try to push me into staying with my wife. I was relieved. We spoke for a while, and she asked if I would call my wife, but I told her I would only do so when I was ready to explore the situation further. My friend's home was across a bridge that I was walking over, and I'm not going to lie, there was a moment when I pondered jumping off. I convinced myself that it would make things a whole lot easier. I immediately let go of the notion and giggled. It's amazing what our minds can conjure up when we're not paying attention. Anyway, I'm going to sit down with my wife tonight or tomorrow night and have a long conversation about everything. In fact, I'm afraid my mind is already made up that I'll file for divorce since I can't see a scenario in which I won't be resentful of her, regardless of whether or not we end up together. I'll give her the opportunity to say all she believes she has to say before informing her my decision. I'll provide an update after we've had a chance to talk, I'm thinking.